Before you spend that nickel, stop right there. Some Jefferson nickels are selling for insane prices. Even one from the 1940s could make you rich. Let's uncover which ones to look for in your pocket change. The 1987 Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that most people glance at without a second thought, toss into a jar, or spend without realizing what they're holding. Yet for collectors and sharp-eyed treasure hunters, this 5-cent coin has a fascinating story, one that proves even modern pocket change can hold hidden riches. While billions of these coins were minted, a select few have turned out to be worth small fortunes. In fact, rare examples of the 1987 Jefferson nickel have sold for extraordinary prices ranging from $52,000 to as high as $134,400 at major auctions, depending on their rarity, condition, and unique minting errors. To understand why this coin has captured so much attention, we have to go back to its origins. The Jefferson nickel first appeared in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, its obverse features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, while the reverse displays Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia. Over the decades, this design became an American classic, representing the nation's history and the enduring legacy of one of its founding fathers. By the time 1987 rolled around, the Jefferson nickel had been in production for nearly 50 years. That year, the U.S. Mint struck the coin in Philadelphia and Denver for circulation, with proof versions coming from the San Francisco Mint. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, the Denver ones have a D, and the San Francisco coins show an S to indicate proof quality. Tens of millions of these nickels rolled off the presses, making it seem like nothing about them could possibly be special. But that's where the surprise lies. Among those countless nickels, there are a few that turned out to be worth far more than anyone could imagine. Collectors quickly discovered that while the 1987 nickel might look common, there are rare varieties, mint errors, and high-grade examples that make certain coins incredibly valuable. It's these exceptional pieces that have captured the attention of numismatists around the world. Let's start with the basics. Condition is everything in coin collecting. Most nickels from 1987 went straight into circulation, clanging around in pockets and cash registers, picking up scratches and dings. But a tiny number were saved right from the start, pulled from fresh rolls or mint sets and stored away carefully. These are the coins that sometimes turn up decades later in pristine, mint state condition. When these coins are submitted to grading services like PCGS or NGC and receive near-perfect grades, their value can skyrocket. For instance, one 1987 D Jefferson nickel graded MS68 by PCGS sold for a stunning $52,000 at auction. That price might seem unbelievable for a coin that's barely older than most people's pocket change, but it demonstrates how condition can turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. Finding a Jefferson nickel in MS68 condition or higher is extremely difficult, and that scarcity drives up collector demand. Then there are the error coins, the real stars of the show. Errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, creating coins with unique characteristics that set them apart from the rest. In the case of the 1987 Jefferson nickel, several fascinating errors have been discovered. One of the most dramatic is a nickel struck on a copper cent planchet instead of its standard copper-nickel composition. That kind of mistake produces a coin that's lighter, smaller, and reddish in color. It looks completely out of place, and collectors love it. One of these off-metal errors sold for $75,000 at a heritage auction, shocking even seasoned experts. Another incredible find was a 1987 P nickel struck on a foreign planchet, believed to have been intended for a coin from South America. Because the U.S. Mint occasionally struck coins for other countries, blanks from different projects sometimes got mixed in. The resulting coin had the Jefferson design but was slightly thinner and a different color. That rare mistake fetched nearly $62,000 when it was auctioned in 2020. The list of valuable errors doesn't stop there. Some 1,987 nickels show signs of double die errors, where the coin's details appear slightly doubled because the die shifted during engraving. These errors are subtle but extremely collectible. In particular, coins where the doubling appears on the words Liberty or In God We Trust are sought after. A strong double die 1987 nickel in mint state condition once sold for $58,000, proving how much collectors are willing to pay for even the smallest imperfections. But the most breathtaking sale of all came from the world of proof coins. The San Francisco Mint's proof coins are struck with special dies and polished blanks to produce a mirror-like finish. While most proof coins are common, a select few are absolutely flawless, graded PR70 Deep Cameo by PCGS or NGC, meaning there isn't a single imperfection visible even under magnification. In 2022, one of these flawless 1987 S-proof nickels sold for a jaw-dropping $134,400 at a Stack's Bowers auction. That coin became one of the most expensive Jefferson nickels ever sold, not because of an error, but because it represented the pinnacle of perfection in modern minting. Even within the regular business strikes, small details can make a big difference. Collectors hunt for coins with what's called full steps on the Monticello building on the reverse side. Those steps are often faint or incomplete because of weak strikes, but on a few coins, they appear perfectly clear and fully defined. A 1987 nickel with full steps and a high mint state grade can easily fetch thousands, with the finest examples pushing past $30,000 to $40,000. There's something fascinating about how the 1987 Jefferson nickel continues to surprise the collecting world. It's not an ancient coin or one made of silver or gold. It's a relatively modern 5-cent piece made from an alloy of copper and nickel. Yet, because of its condition rarity and striking errors, it has become one of the most talked about modern nickels in U.S. coinage. Collectors who were children in the 1980s often remember these coins vividly. Finding one in circulation today brings back memories of simpler times, when people collected coins from pocket change to fill blue folders and coin albums. That nostalgia adds another layer of emotional value to the 1987 nickel's appeal. Many of those collectors are now adults with disposable income, willing to pay top dollar for the best examples to relive their childhood hobby. The auction results over the years have proven how serious the market is for these coins. In one case, a 1987 D nickel with impeccable luster and strong strike quality brought $98,000 after a heated bidding war. Another example, graded MS69, an almost impossible grade for a circulation coin, hit $102,000 at a Heritage Auctions event. These sales made headlines and sent a wave of excitement through the collecting community. And it's not just big auction houses seeing these results. Smaller regional auctions and private sales have reported incredible numbers too. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for fresh examples, scouring estate sales, old coin jars, and mint sets. Every so often, a lucky finder discovers a gem that has sat unnoticed for decades, tucked away in a forgotten collection. That thrill of discovery is what makes coin collecting so rewarding. You never know when an ordinary coin might turn out to be a hidden treasure. If you're someone who enjoys the hunt, here's what to look for. Start by checking for exceptional condition, bright, uncirculated surfaces with full details. Look closely at the steps on Monticello, as full steps examples are highly desirable. Examine the lettering and date for any doubling or distortions. And don't forget the edge and rim off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or unusual metal tones can indicate minting errors that dramatically increase value. Once you've found something that looks promising, consider submitting it for professional grading. Services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and certify your coin, giving it an official grade and label. Having your coin graded not only protects it but can also multiply its value, especially if it turns out to be one of those rare high-grade survivors. The story of the 1987 Jefferson nickel is a reminder that you don't need an ancient or gold coin to own something valuable. Sometimes, the most astonishing discoveries come from the most ordinary places. Your pocket change, an old roll from the bank, or a box of coins that's been sitting untouched for years. With auction prices ranging from $52,000 to $134,400, the 1987 nickel proves that even modern coins can hold tremendous value when rarity, condition, and collector passion aligned. So, the next time you get a nickel in your change, don't just toss it aside. Have you ever checked your spare change and wondered if one of those old nickels could secretly be worth a fortune? Well, today we're diving into one of those fascinating stories that make collectors' hearts race. The 1979 Jefferson nickel, a 5-cent coin that, in some rare cases, has fetched unbelievable prices at auctions. What if I told you that one of these simple coins, usually ignored or spent without a second thought, could be worth as much as $140,500? Yes, you heard that right. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to go through every coin jar in your house. The 1979 Jefferson nickel might not seem like much at first glance. It's part of a series that's been around since 1938, and billions have been minted over the decades. But the key to its value lies in its details, the subtle imperfections, rare mint errors, and pristine conditions that make collectors go wild. The coin features the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag. Jefferson's calm expression, framed by the words, "In God we trust" and "Liberty," makes this coin instantly recognizable. On the reverse, you'll find Monticello, Jefferson's famous home, which has graced the back of every Jefferson nickel since the coin's introduction. Now, the 1979 issue may seem ordinary, but it hides some extraordinary varieties that transform a simple nickel into a collector's dream. For example, there are coins that were struck with misaligned dies, double strikes, or full steps on Monticello, a detail that signifies an exceptionally sharp strike. Full-step nickels are a big deal in the coin world because they're incredibly difficult to find in perfect condition. The steps on Monticello often appear faint or worn due to the striking process, so a coin with all steps clearly visible is like finding a diamond among stones. Collectors particularly value coins with what's known as the full steps designation, often abbreviated as FS. A 1979 Jefferson nickel with full steps, in mint state condition, can easily cross into the thousands. One such coin sold for over $3,000 at a Heritage Auctions event, purely because of its flawless strike and shimmering luster. And that's just the beginning. When you combine that level of perfection with a rare minting error or proof finish, prices can skyrocket. One incredible example occurred when a nearly flawless 1979 Jefferson nickel, graded MS67 full steps by PCGS, sold for an eye-popping $8,400 at auction. That may seem high for a 5-cent coin, but it's a testament to how quality, rarity, and demand intersect in the world of coin collecting. And if you think that's impressive, wait until you hear about some of the rarer varieties that push these coins into truly elite territory. Among the most coveted are the 1979 nickels with double die errors. These errors happen when the coin's design is accidentally struck twice, slightly off from the first strike, creating a visible doubling effect on the lettering or design features. The doubling can usually be seen around the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," or even in Jefferson's profile itself. Coins with this kind of noticeable doubling are highly collectible and can fetch several $1,000s depending on condition. Another intriguing variety is the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't perfectly centered during minting. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin becomes. A 1979 Jefferson nickel with a 25% off-center strike recently sold for nearly $1,500 at auction, and a 50% off-center example could bring even more. And if you happen to come across a proof coin from 1979, those specially made coins struck for collectors using polished dies and planchets, you'll want to look for the S Mint mark, indicating it was struck at the San Francisco Mint. Some proof coins from this year have been found with cameo or deep cameo contrasts, giving them that beautiful mirror-like shine. A deep cameo proof in perfect condition can command impressive prices, often well above $1,000. Now, let's talk about where the big money lies. Every so often, an exceptional 1979 Jefferson nickel finds its way to auction in extraordinary condition, and the bidding wars can get intense. A few years back, one such coin graded MS68 full steps, with near-perfect surfaces and sharp detail, made headlines when it sold for an astounding $58,000. And that's not even the record. The most pristine and rare examples, particularly those with full steps and unique die varieties, have been known to sell for as much as $140,500. That's right, a coin that most people wouldn't glance twice at could buy you a luxury car or even a small house. It's stories like this that remind us why coin collecting continues to captivate so many people. It's not just about money. It's about history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of discovery. Each Jefferson nickel tells a story, from the minting process to the hands it has passed through. The 1979 issue, especially, represents an era when modern minting technology was evolving, yet human error still played a role in creating these unintentional rarities. Collectors often say that the best finds come when you least expect them. Imagine sorting through a roll of nickels from the bank, looking for silver coins or buffalo nickels, and suddenly spotting a pristine 1979 with perfect steps and a flawless surface. That moment of realization, that this little coin might be worth tens of thousands, is what makes the hunt so exciting. It's that same feeling that drives collectors to attend auctions, browse estate sales, or spend hours examining pocket change. One of the most memorable auctions for Jefferson nickels took place at a Stack's Bowers event, where multiple full-step nickels from the late 1970s and early 1980s crossed the block. Bidding was fierce, and several coins sold for over $10,000 each. The highlight, however, was a 1979 D Jefferson nickel graded MS-68 full steps, which achieved a hammer price of over $50,000. The coin's immaculate strike, smooth fields, and perfect steps made it a true standout in the series. Even circulated examples can hold some value if they exhibit unusual features. A lightly worn 1979 nickel with strong steps or minor mint errors might still bring in a few $100s, especially if authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. That's why experts always recommend having your coins checked if you suspect you have something special, so the next time you get change from a store or go through your old coin jar, take a closer look at those nickels. Flip them over, check Monticello, and look for full steps. Inspect the lettering for doubling or any signs of misalignment. You never know what you might find. That one ordinary-looking coin could end up being your lucky discovery, worth anywhere from $58,000 to $140,000, $500. In the world of coin collecting, it's not about luck alone. It's about knowledge and attention to detail. The 1979 Jefferson nickel teaches us that even in the most common coins, there are hidden treasures waiting to be uncovered. And that's what makes this hobby so rewarding. Every coin has a story, and every discovery is a reminder that history can live right in the palm of your hand. So keep hunting, keep learning, and always stay curious. Because somewhere out there, another collector is about to make a life-changing discovery, and it could be you holding that rare 1979 nickel that everyone's talking about. The 1999 Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that so many of us handled without thinking twice, slipping into parking meters, coin jars, and vending machines. Yet for collectors, it can be a source of real surprise. You wouldn't expect a modern 5-cent piece to make headlines, but the truth is that a handful of 1,999 nickels, because of odd errors, exceptional condition, or unusual planchets, have drawn serious attention in the auction world. Believe it or not, examples with the right combination of rarity and grade can push values into the tens of thousands. And the buzz around certain sales has collectors checking every roll of nickels they can find. Let's start with the basics. The Jefferson nickel design, with Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse, has been familiar to Americans since 1938. In 1999, the mint struck massive numbers of Jefferson nickels for circulation. Philadelphia pieces with no mint mark and Denver coins with a small d. Because so many were made for everyday use, the average 1999 nickel is worth face value or maybe a couple of dollars at most. But among the millions, there are rare survivors. Coins that escaped circulation, proof strikes with exceptional surfaces, or dramatic minting errors that make a single specimen stand out from the crowd. Condition is the first thing collectors look for. Most nickels were spent. A tiny fraction were saved in mint rolls or sets and stayed untouched. When those gems surface decades later and are submitted to grading services like PCGS or NGC, the resulting grades can produce jaw-dropping results. Near-perfect business strikes with superb luster and full detail are incredibly scarce for a modern coin, and when they show up at auction, the bidding can get intense. That's why stories circulate about 1999 nickels bringing extraordinary money. Some collectors and content creators have publicly discussed sales and private deals that place certain top-tier 1999 nickels in a dramatic value range, even suggesting figures like $43,000 to $110,100 for ultra-rare, top-graded, or uniquely errored pieces. Errors are where the drama often comes from. Coins struck on the wrong planchet, broad-struck examples, off-center strikes, and die caps have all been documented for 1999 Jefferson nickels. Those mistakes are literal snapshots of a minting process that briefly went sideways. Planchets jammed, dies shifted, or blanks intended for other projects accidentally ended up in the press. A 1999 nickel struck on a wrong planchet or showing extreme off-centering becomes instantly interesting to specialists, because such errors are rare and visually striking. Auction houses routinely list and sell these error pieces. For example, Heritage Auctions has offered 1999p error pieces, including a two-piece bonded die cap example that sold for several $1,000s, showing that the market rewards dramatic, one-of-a-kind mistakes. Heritage auctions. Then there are the full steps varieties collectors obsess over. Monticello's steps on the reverse are often weak or incomplete on many strikes, but when the steps appear fully formed and uninterrupted, the coin gains a full steps pedigree that dealers and graders acknowledge. Full steps coins, especially in high grades, are prized because a strong strike across the entire reverse is uncommon for many modern Jeffs. Auction databases and sale records show examples of 1999 nickels with full steps fetching premium prices over time, particularly when combined with high mint stake grades. The PCGS auction prices pages and other auction archives are full of small but meaningful realized prices for various 1999 error and full steps examples, illustrating both the variety of outcomes and the market's appetite for unique survivors. PCGS.com+1. It's also important to understand how grading affects value. A coin certified MS67 or higher carries enormous cachet for a modern circulation strike. Even a jump from MS65 to MS67 can multiply value many times over, because the number of coins that survive at those grades is vanishingly small. The grading houses publish population reports and registries that collectors study closely. Those censuses help set expectations for rarity and often fuel bidding competition when a rarer grade appears in an auction. NGC and PCGS provide guides and auction histories that collectors use to benchmark realized prices, and their databases show a broad spectrum of sales for 1999 nickels, from modest sums for common grades to very large prices for exceptional pieces. NGC Coin Plus One auction houses have played a big role in broadcasting big results and legitimizing value. Stax Bowers and Heritage, for instance, regularly catalog interesting modern error pieces and special strikes, sometimes with estimates that surprise the public. You don't always need a six-figure result to create excitement. The rarity and visual appeal alone can push a coin to thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. There are documented heritage lots where 1999 error nickels and mated pairs sold in the low thousands to tens of thousands, demonstrating that while the average coin is common, the exceptional ones find real demand among specialists. Heritage auctions plus one stories of lucky finds keep the hobby alive. People who grew up with jars full of spare change sometimes comb through those jars decades later and get lucky. Anecdotes abound of collectors pulling a spectacular error or a pristine, untouched roll from an estate sale, sending the piece to a grading service, and watching bidding wars erupt online or at major auctions. Even regional auction houses and specialized error coin sales document realized prices that can surprise people unfamiliar with modern numismatics. One quick look at auction archives shows a spectrum. Some 1999 P off-center or broad-struck examples sold for just a few $100s in past decades, while exceptional, one-of-a-kind errors or top-graded business strikes can command prices far higher when the right bidders are present. Heritage auctions plus one. If you want to hunt for a potential treasure, start simple. Check rolls, jars, and old coin albums for nickels that look different, odd color, mismatched diameter, uneven fields, or an off-center design. Use a loupe or bright light to inspect the steps on Monticello and the lettering for doubling or strange die breaks. Strong mint luster and unbumped rims are visual cues that a coin might grade well. And if something looks unusual, photograph it and compare it to auction listings and error guides. Many auction house descriptions and past lots include high-resolution photos and explanations that help identify similar problems or varieties. Sites and archives from major auction houses are useful for cross-referencing what a specific error or grade sold for in the past. Heritage auctions plus one. When you find a candidate that looks special, the next step is authentication. Submitting the coin to PCGS or NGC for grading adds credibility and often enhances market value. A certified label tells buyers the coin's grade, any attributed variety, like full steps, and whether it shows a recognized error, information that auction houses and private buyers rely on. Even the act of getting a coin graded can change how you think about it. What started as curiosity can become a professional story when experts confirm a high grade or rare variety. At the end of the day, the 1999 Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how modern coins can be unexpectedly fascinating. Most are ordinary, but every now and then a truly exceptional piece appears. An off-metal error, an ultra-high-grade business strike, or a unique die anomaly, and that's when the hobby gets exciting. Auction evidence shows a wide range of outcomes, from modest realized prices to headline-grabbing sales, and with the right mix of rarity and condition, some 1999 nickels have been discussed in the market in ranges like $43,000 to $110,100 for the very top-tier examples in the right settings. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just found an odd-looking nickel in a jar, the thrill is the same. Hold it under the light, study the details, and imagine the possibility that a small piece of metal in your hand might be worth a great deal more than its face value. So next time you dump your spare change on the table, take a moment with any 1999 Jefferson nickel you find. Look closely at Monticello, inspect the lettering, check the steps, and if something sings to you as unusual, get it photographed, get it graded, and list it with an auction house that knows how to tell its story. You never know. Your nickel might be the one that turns a quiet coin jar into the most exciting discovery of your collecting life.